having these study tips will really help you achieve the best grades that you can possible, and to the minimum, pass your courses, okay? Because that's all we want at the end of the day. We want to pass and be RN. Nurse Nas, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you may know, I have started a nursing playlist about surviving nursing school, and basically this playlist is supposed to help nursing students or anyone who wishes to go into the nursing program or who wants to be a nurse. And basically this is tips and advice that I wish that I took, I wish that I knew, and that will help you and whoever is in the program. So my first video of surviving nursing school had to do with not making the same mistakes that I made, so I really recommend you to check that video out, after you watch this video. But in this video in particular, I will be sharing with you all my study tips and how I made it to the dean's list. And if I can do it, you can too. There's gonna be 5 main study tips that I'm gonna be sharing, and I'm also gonna be doing it like a story time kind of style. So I will be showing you how I implemented these study tips. Anyways, let's get started. So tip number 1 is to make that schedule. So making that schedule will help you prioritize your time. I mentioned this in the last video, how prioritization of your time is key to you passing your courses, to knowing when things are due. So making sure you have your syllabus, like said before, having a calendar, it could be your iPad, it could be a physical calendar, anything, it could be in your notes in your phone. Just making sure that you have a clear-cut schedule of when everything is due. So have that out there so that you know when you should be making time to study. Because once you know I have a test a week from now, or I have 2 tests, 1 test on Monday, 1 on Wednesday, now I have 2 weeks to study, it will make it flow much better in studying. So the number 1 thing that you should do is to have a schedule. Making sure that you implement a schedule in your life, it will help things flow. And I cannot stress this so much, like have that schedule. So once you have that schedule, it will not make you so stressed out knowing that, oh my gosh, like all these things are like piling up and you didn't know that I had an exam this week, a project due this week, clinicals here and there. No, making your schedule will have everything mapped up so that it's easier for you. That's what really helped me a lot when it came to knowing when my exams and projects were due. It helped me stay organized. It helped me like being an all-around student of like, okay, I know I need this, I know I have this much time to do it. How am I gonna organize my time to make it work? So implementing a schedule is key in making sure that you are organized and making sure that you have enough time to do everything and making that time to do everything. So make that schedule. So number 2, place. So now that you have all this time to study for your test, you need a place to study. So where are you going to study? So for me, when I initially had to study, so that's like gathering all my material, making sure that, I know what to study for, like basically gathering my thoughts and everything. I thought that it was best to do that at the library. Home was too kind of like relaxing for me. So I personally went to the library. I went with my roommate and best friend of university, Adrian, and we would spend basically the whole day at the library. We woke up in the morning, got dressed, looked cute, because like I said before, you do whatever you need to do to make sure that during the day, during your studying time, you're feeling the best that you can. So if it's wearing pajamas, wear your pajamas. For us, we like to look cute. We got dressed, got ready, went to the library, got a tea, and we went ham studying. So at the library, you could go into quiet areas, go into your little cubbies, you can study there. Sometimes too, when the library became like so draining, because sometimes honestly in the library, you feel everyone's stressed and you're like, oh my gosh, like everyone's like really stressed about their exams that are due, midterms that are coming up and everything like that. So if at home is a more comfortable place for you to be, then, make a little study area at home, get a desk, a chair. You can, light your candles at home. You can eat whenever you want, pee whenever, like if it's more comfortable for you to be at home without getting distracted and without getting lazy that, I want to sleep on my bed or whatever, you can make your study space in your living room, in your room if you can. You can make it on your couch, just areas in your home where it feels more comfortable. You want to find that space where you're able to study comfortably but able to still focus. So make sure that you're still focused. For me, where I was able to still study comfortably while maintaining focus was at the library, and that's where I did majority of my study time, and that was the school's library. You can use your home library if you have that, the public libraries around your house or things like that. But again, Sometimes at the library, it would be like such a drag, like studying at the library because you spend such long hours. So also finding different spaces where you can study. So then at home, I had a desk in my living room and I would study there. And also I would study at my dining table. And when I say at home, I mean the house that we lived in university. It was rented. So we had like the basement suite and there's a dining table. So I would study there or I would study in my room. So that's number 2. Find your space where you can study, feel comfortable, but most importantly, focus. So number 3 is looking over your course materials. This is going to be a longer topic because it covers a whole bunch of things from classes to textbook works to PowerPoints. So this is definitely key in terms of studying and making sure that you're studying the right things. Sometimes we do not know what we should study for. So I recommend to go to your classes, okay? I know a big thing right now is that there are online classes. Online sometimes it's so hard to focus because I have a younger brother too who sometimes, like, you know, especially when the classes are already posted online, you don't feel the urge to tap into the class right away. I can do it later, you know, they posted everything. Why do I need to search it now? That's why making a schedule is also a big thing when it comes to even the online classes, because now some professors are posting all their recorded classes online. So now it is your job to be disciplined, to make a schedule that, okay, Mondays, I'm gonna look over health assessment, even though there's not a Monday class for it and she already posted everything. I know that every Monday and Wednesday, I'm gonna focus on health assessment and look over the course material so that weekly you're still getting engaged in all the classes. You don't wanna wait and run into like last minute when it's time for you to study for your test. You didn't watch any of the recorded classes and now you have to watch all these hours of recorded classes. Not only that, you have to look through your textbook and it just becomes more than it has to be. So I think it's really key that, especially since we're kind of going online now, you really want to make a schedule for yourself of your online classes. If you already have online classes that are scheduled and that you have to attend because it is not pre-recorded, it is live classes, attend those classes because sometimes professors will share things in class, online or in person, that they will specifically write in tests that only people who attended the class will know the answer. And I'll share an example. So in university, I took a Issues in Indigenous Health course and we had someone come in talk about diabetes using a mannequin, and the mannequin had the foot and the foot literally had, like, you know, degradation of the foot and everything like that. In a demonstration she was doing with us with this mannequin leg, the foot fell off. Why is it in the exam test she literally added a question and she's just like, what happened at the end of the presentation with the diabetes? And it was multiple choice. So people who did not attend the class will not choose the foot fell off answer because it's just like, what the heck does this have to do with anything? But that was the correct answer. So that just emphasizes my point of how important it is to actually attend your classes. I know sometimes it's a drag, but you have to attend your classes because sometimes teachers will share tea. They will tell you things that will be on the test because they're making up these tests. And if they want to, they can put random questions that they only covered in class. Not only that, if they're using PowerPoints, sometimes they will tell us things that we can add notes to. So like if you're talking about something in health assessment, let's say you're talking about the cardiac system, they just tell you different things that they know to be important. You will type that in on your notes. You will write that in your notes so then you know, okay, I can add these to my study notes. So you want to gather. Number 3, it's very important to gather your materials. So gathering your materials by attending your classes is very important to attend online classes because teachers do share things that they will write on their tests. So in terms of gathering material as well, when it comes to textbook, sometimes the textbook in nursing school, the amount of chapters that these professors make us read, dang! I won't say damn. Can I say damn on YouTube? It's a lot. Sometimes it is not possible. Sometimes you have to skim through the chapters and things like that. Sometimes you have to rely more on the PowerPoints. And from the PowerPoints, you can kind of see a basis of what material they're focused on. And then from the PowerPoints, you know, little tip, if you see on the PowerPoints they're talking about something specific, try to like find that in the textbook so that you could take notes from the textbook as well relating to the PowerPoints that they already provided. Or if you're in class, that's why it's important to attend your classes and to watch your class videos. If you're in class and you're talking about a certain subject, you know, and you don't really understand it, that's when textbooks are really key and really important because then in textbooks, they explain it further and you can learn more in what the textbook is saying rather than what the teacher is saying, especially if they're not really good teachers, because let's be honest, some teachers are not that great. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, I know I'm kind of jumping forward, but sometimes when you actually write the test and you see the teacher's method and how they format their questions, because every teacher has a method in how they format their questions. And let me explain it like this. So let's say I have a professor and they're very keen on their PowerPoint. So they, in class, they have their PowerPoints, they shared certain things, and their textbook, they're assigning all these chapters, and the chapters that they're assigning is like, what the heck? Like, you already have a 50-page PowerPoint slide. Now we gotta read over 100 pages in the textbook, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. So, while you're studying, it's hard to go over all the material. So you focus more on the PowerPoints. But then when you write the test, you notice that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of things that are in the test that she didn't really cover in the PowerPoints. Those were more in the textbook. That's when you know for that class and that teacher, all the chapters that she's assigning or he's assigning in your textbook, you have to actually prioritize those chapters and actually go into depth in those chapters rather than the PowerPoint. If the material is very overloaded for you, honestly, the only way you can know which you should focus on is actually writing the test. Obviously study for, whatever you can and then write the test, and you'll be like, okay, I focus more on the PowerPoint, but this teacher clearly, gets her materials from the textbook. So next time I'm going to make sure I focus more on the textbook material. And that means reading those chapters, making notes on those chapters, things like that. Vice versa, if the teacher, assigns all of these chapters to do, she also gives you detailed PowerPoints, and you make notes on the PowerPoints from the classes. So then let's say you actually focused on reading over all the textbook chapters and everything like that. You wrote the test, and you find out that, wow, it was mainly only her PowerPoints that she took the material from to format her test questions. And all the answers were all in the PowerPoints that teacher provided. Then for that class, you focus more on the PowerPoints. So key, most of my teachers, they gave us everything in the PowerPoints. Some of the teachers who didn't really know how to teach, then we know we got to teach ourselves in the textbooks. So making sure that you have your course material. So that is knowing if it's more textbook oriented or if it's more using the PowerPoint slides that they provide, and they make it very detailed and everything like that. So you use that to study more. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. You have to use both. And when it gets overwhelming like that, that's when, like I said before, that's when writing the test lets you know, okay, I should have focused more on actually the textbook than the PowerPoint slide, or I should have focused more on the PowerPoint slides more than the textbooks, or I have to actually kind of do both. So that's the third thing, gathering all of your course material. So now that you've made a schedule, so you have the time to study, you're prioritizing your time and organized, you set a place where you wanted to study, somewhere where you are focused, there's no distractions, and you're still comfortable but can be focused. The key thing is staying focused so you're actually studying. And 3, you have all your course material of everything that you need to actually study your exam. Now, how do I actually study for my exam? The key thing for me that really helped in getting me onto the Dean's List, guys, is cue cards. Making cue cards, guys. Cue cards, I feel like, are so underrated. If you don't do this, try it the next time for your test. So this is what I recommend for you to do. How to make your cue cards. So the first thing you do is that you have all your course material that you need. So your notes that you made in class, all your PowerPoint slides, textbook notes that you made. Have all that ready so you have your course material. Now, using your course material, you're going to use the cue cards now to make your cue card questions. You don't actually have to buy the papers. You can make them yourself. So we would actually just take blank paper and cut them up into these small sizes, and it'd be this big. It wouldn't be big at all, because I know some cue cards are big cards. Big cue cards that you do get, you can cut them up to, write in a smaller font, because you're probably gonna need a lot of paper with all the material that's in nursing school. So let's say it's a maternity class, and let's say in this class, the PowerPoint slide is talking about gestational age of women. So between 37 weeks to 40 weeks, let's say that they're saying that's term, 41 weeks is post-date, so that's when you're over your time, over term, and preterm is anything under 37 weeks. Let's just say they're telling you this information. Now, with your cue cards, knowing this information, you're gonna form it into questions. What is a term pregnancy defined as? And then in your answer, flip over the page in the answer, write 37 to 40 weeks. That's as easy as it is. So not only are you reading the information again, but you're formulating questions with this information, writing it down. And writing, for me, always helps me learn. It imprints it in my brain. My point is taking your course material, you see everything that they provide in the PowerPoints, it could be in your textbook, and then make them into questions. It engages you because not only are you looking over the material, you are writing it down, you are critically thinking by formulating them into questions, all of a sudden you have all these like cue cards piling up of all these questions from all the material that you've gathered from that class. And it makes studying so much easier. Not only easier, it helps you read over the whole courses. It helps you write it down, which again, for me, writing things down really imprints it into your brain. So making cue cards really helps in reading over all your material, but not only reading over all your material, to engage with your mind, to critically think and make them into questions. And you know, in the back you have the answers to it. And I love cue cards because after you finish writing all your cue cards, you can test yourself with them. You have your questions that you've made. So it's like taking a test that is funner. You can have a right answer pile and a wrong answer pile. So the questions that you got wrong, you put them in the wrong answer pile. Questions that you got right, you put them in the right answer pile. And then once you're done going through all that, this is what I would do. I'd pick up the wrong question pile and go through all the questions I got wrong. In nursing school, because of the material would be so much, and because we sometimes would have so much cue cards for a certain course, I could only, like, after writing all the cue cards, I could only like review it another 2 to 3 times sometimes because of like how many questions there were and how much material we had to cover. But because we wrote down each question, writing the answers in the back, looking over it and things like that, it just helped so much. So the information was there. It gets embedded into your brain and it makes it so much fun. You don't even have to test yourself. If you like, you can have someone else test you. So that's like the really fun thing about cue cards, that another person could test you, tell you you got it right. You know, you can engage with other people. You can make it a game. Like, it is lit. I love cue cards. Tell me, what is your favorite method of studying? I would love to know your favorite thing, but for me, cue cards, it just made it all the better. Instead of just like rereading it, it's testing yourself all the time, and it just helped with writing tests. So I really recommend cue cards. Cue cards are great. They're great. Now, number 5, a very underrated thing that you should prioritize, and a lot of people don't, is sleep. Guys, sleep is so important for you to actually take in everything that you learned, for you to actually write your test to the best capabilities that you can do. You need to sleep. Because I'm telling you, most people, 4 hours of sleep, you cannot function properly. And if you're studying to the point where, you know, you're studying till like 4 or 5 in the morning, your exam's at 8 o'clock, you have like 4 hours of sleep, and you've crammed it, and I'm telling you, that test is gonna kill you. I don't want to say it's gonna kill you, but it's gonna be so hard to remember everything that you learned, especially if you crammed it. Sleep is so key. I'm telling you guys, and this is something that I learned, because in first year, I did not prioritize my sleep. Second year, I did, and I was on the honor roll. You need to sleep. So for me, getting like 6 hours of sleep, that was good enough for me. Aim for like 6 to 8 hours, 6 minimum. I would say 6 minimum. Aim for that. So that's why, again, it's very important to set your schedule, make time to study. Make sure you have enough time to study so that you can prioritize your sleep as well, because sleep is going to help you remember everything that you consumed. If you don't have enough sleep and you're running on energy drinks, you know, coffee and things like that to keep you awake, to cram everything, I'm telling you, when you're writing the test, your mind's gonna be racing. You're not gonna be remembering things. Just don't do it to yourself. Do not get there. Don't get to that place. If you're at that place right now, please use these study tips to help you get a more healthier lifestyle and getting great grades, because that is literally going to burn you out. You're gonna have trauma from every test you write, because it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, now I gotta have energy drinks and do all this and this and this. Whenever there was breaks, people got so sick because they weren't sleeping well, they were taking a whole bunch of energy drinks and coffee, they weren't eating well and things like that. That's why it comes back to like the number one thing of like managing your time, because then you'll have enough time to study, you'll have enough time to get all your information, to make your cue cards, and to do whatever study thing that you do, and then study for it and sleep. Because when you sleep and go through your REM cycles, your brain is just, everything you learn is just taking it in. It's just like, yeah, it's just gonna flow. You need to sleep. And for me, pray. Draw close to God. Nothing is impossible with God on your side. Whenever I felt like, oh, I can't do it, God just pushed me there. I just felt like, okay, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That is my mantra. That's what keeps me going, knowing that God is by my side. God will help me. I got this. It is what it is because I've done everything that I can. So these are all my tips of studying in nursing school that helped me get onto the dean's list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Put your suggestions down in the comment sections. I would love to hear from you and know more about you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias. I have Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, even though I don't really be tweeting. But my TikTok and Instagram, I am very active. So follow me at Only One Manasseh. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.